Dr. Sarah Chen stared at the data streaming across her quantum display, her coffee growing cold beside her. The signal hadn't changed in 72 hours, a perfectly consistent transmission emanating from somewhere beneath the Pacific Ocean. What made her hands shake wasn't just the signal's existence, but its impossible precision. No natural phenomenon could maintain such stability. Dr. Chen, Marcus Wong, her graduate student, appeared in the doorway of her cramped office at the Lunar Observatory. The deep-sea probe reached the coordinates. "You're going to want to see this." The main laboratory's holographic display illuminated with live footage from 12 kilometers beneath the ocean's surface. Sarah's breath caught in her throat. There, partially buried in the seafloor sediment, stood a structure that shouldn't exist. A perfect black pyramid, its surface unmarred by millions of years of underwater currents. Carbon dating puts it at roughly 100 million years old, Marcus said, his voice barely above a whisper, before humans even existed. Sarah's mind raced. Humanity had always wondered if they were alone in the universe. They had searched the stars, sent probes to distant planets, and listened for radio signals from space. But they had never thought to look beneath their own oceans for proof of an ancient visitor. The signal pulsed from the pyramid's apex, a rhythmic pattern that seemed to bypass their instruments and resonate directly with human brainwaves. Sarah had first detected it 3 days ago, when their new quantum sensors came online. Now she understood why. The signal wasn't meant for their technology. It was meant for them. "Director Walsh needs to see this," Sarah said, reaching for her comm unit. Before she could activate it, the pyramid's surface shifted. Geometric patterns of light traced across its obsidian faces, and the signal changed. The laboratory's speakers crackled to life, translating the transmission into sound. A voice spoke, neither male nor female, neither young nor old, in perfect English. "To the children of Earth, if you are receiving this message, you have developed sufficient quantum technology to understand its contents. We are the archivists, and we left this warning 100 million years ago. Your world stands at the crossroads of a great cosmic event. You are not random evolution, but the result of careful engineering. Your species was designed to survive what comes next." Sarah's hands gripped the edge of her console. Around the laboratory, her colleagues stood frozen, listening to a message from deep time. The galaxy cycles through periods of chaos, quantum storms that reshape reality itself. The last great storm nearly destroyed all sentient life. We created your ancestors, seeded them on Earth, and encoded within their DNA the potential to evolve the abilities needed to weather the coming tempest. You are our legacy, our hope that intelligence will survive. The message continued, explaining how humanity's seemingly random evolutionary path had been carefully orchestrated. Their capacity for adaptation, their resilience, their ability to thrive in almost any environment, all were gifts from an ancient race that had seen the future and prepared for it. But there are others who would prevent your ascension. The Galactic Concordat believes themselves the guardians of cosmic order. They fear what you might become. They will try to stop you from reaching your full potential. You must be ready. Screens throughout the laboratory lit up with technical data, designs for technologies beyond human understanding, star maps showing the positions of potential allies and enemies, and most importantly, a timeline. They had 5 years before the quantum storm would begin to affect their region of space. Your minds are capable of comprehending this knowledge now. Your bodies are preparing for the final stage of transformation. Trust in what you will become. You are not alone in this fight. Others like us left similar archives for other seeded species. Find them. Unite with them. Survive. The signal fell silent, but the data continued to pour in. Sarah noticed her hands were trembling, not from fear, but from excitement. Her whole life, she had searched for proof that humanity wasn't alone in the universe. Now she had found it, along with the revelation that humans were part of something far greater than they had imagined. "Marcus," she said, her voice steady despite the weight of what they had discovered, "contact every major scientific institution and government agency. They need to know what's coming. She paused, looking at the pyramid's image. "And get me the best geneticists you can find. We need to understand exactly what's encoded in our DNA." As her team scrambled to action, Sarah remained still, watching the ancient structure pulse with light. Humanity had always wondered about their purpose in the universe. Now they knew. They were designed to be survivors, protectors, the next generation of guardians against cosmic chaos. But first, they would have to face the Concordat, a civilization that saw them as a threat rather than a solution. The game board was set, the pieces were in motion, and humanity had just learned they were playing for stakes higher than anyone had imagined. Sarah smiled grimly. If there was one thing humans excelled at, it was exceeding expectations. Somewhere in the vast darkness of space, the quantum storm gathered strength, and the Concordat ships began their long journey toward Earth. But this time, humanity wouldn't be caught unprepared. This time, they knew exactly what they were meant to become. The first changes began 3 months after the pyramid's awakening. Dr. Elena Rodriguez watched through reinforced glass as 16-year-old Jamie Chen, Sarah's daughter, manipulated quantum fields with her bare hands. The girl's eyes glowed with an inner light as she reshaped reality at its most fundamental level. "It's like seeing code in the air," Jamie explained, her voice filled with wonder. "I can feel how everything fits together, how it can be reformed." To demonstrate, she reached out, her fingers trailing through invisible currents. A small sphere of pure energy materialized above her palm, its surface rippling with complex patterns. Elena made another note in her tablet. Across the globe, similar transformations were occurring. Children and young adults were developing abilities that defied conventional physics. The archivist's genetic programming was activating, preparing humanity for the approaching quantum storm. In orbit, the International Space Station's crew reported strange phenomena. Commander David Okonjo's daily log described how his team could now perceive higher dimensions, allowing them to plot faster-than-light travel routes through space that had always existed but remained invisible to human perception until now. But not everyone welcomed these changes. Protests erupted in major cities, driven by fear and religious fervor. "Keep humanity pure" became a rallying cry for those who saw the transformations as an alien corruption of human nature. The world teetered on the edge of chaos. In her office at the United Nations, Secretary General Maria Santos reviewed the latest reports. The awakening, as media had dubbed it, was accelerating. More importantly, the pyramid wasn't the only artifact activating. Similar structures had been discovered in the Sahara Desert, the Amazon rainforest, and beneath the Antarctic ice. "We've confirmed contact with 3 other seeded species," her aide reported. "The Nexus from Proxima Centauri, the Quantum Collective from Sirius, and the Void Dancers from the Pleiades. All of them received the same warning. All of them are changing." Maria stood at her window, watching the sunset paint New York's skyline in brilliant colors. "And the Concordat. Their fleet will reach our solar system in 4 years, 3 months, and 17 days. Long-range scans show they're bringing enough firepower to sterilize a dozen planets." She nodded, unsurprised. The archivists had warned them about the Concordat's fear of change, their desperate need to maintain the galaxy's status quo. "How are we progressing with the archive's technical data?" "Better than expected. Dr. Chen's team has successfully implemented the quantum shield designs. We can now protect major population centers from space-based weapons. The deeper physics concepts are transforming our understanding of reality itself. It's like we've been given a key to unlock the universe's source code." Maria turned from the window, her expression determined. "Schedule an emergency session of the Security Council. It's time to implement the Unity Protocol." The Unity Protocol was humanity's response to their new reality, a complete reorganization of human society to prepare for both the Concordat's arrival and the quantum storm. Old national boundaries were becoming meaningless as humanity faced challenges that required global cooperation. In secure facilities around the world, the first generation of transformed humans began training with their new abilities. Jamie Chen led a group of quantum shapers, teaching others to manipulate the fabric of reality. Commander Okonjo's space team trained navigators to perceive and traverse higher dimensions. Dr. Rodriguez's genetics team worked to understand and accelerate the changes encoded in human DNA. But the most significant breakthrough came from an unexpected source. In a research facility beneath the Himalayas, Dr. Aidan O'Connor made a discovery that changed everything. The quantum abilities manifesting in humans weren't just tools for survival. They were keys to understanding the true nature of consciousness itself. The archivist didn't just engineer our bodies. He explained to a gathering of world leaders. They prepared our minds to perceive and interact with the quantum foundation of reality. We're not just evolving physically. We're evolving consciousness itself. This revelation sparked a new understanding of humanity's purpose. The quantum storm wasn't just a natural disaster to be survived. It was an opportunity for transformation on a cosmic scale. The Concordat's fear suddenly made perfect sense. They weren't trying to stop humanity from surviving the storm. They were trying to prevent them from becoming something beyond their control. As the changes spread and humanity's potential continued to unfold, Earth became a beacon for other transformed species. The Nexus arrived first, their crystalline ships appearing in orbit like frozen fractals of light. The Quantum Collective followed, bringing knowledge of technologies that merged consciousness with quantum computing. The Void Dancers came last, teaching humanity how to move between dimensions as easily as stepping through a doorway. Together, they began preparing for both the Concordat's arrival and the quantum storm that would reshape reality itself. Earth, once a lonely planet of supposedly primitive humans, was becoming a hub of transformed species united by their shared destiny. In her laboratory beneath the Pacific, Sarah Chen watched her daughter lead another training session. Jamie had grown more powerful than anyone had anticipated, her consciousness expanding beyond normal human limits. But she hadn't lost her humanity. If anything, her increasing abilities had made her more compassionate, more connected to life itself. "Mom," Jamie said, turning to face her with eyes that now shimmered with quantum energy, "I can feel them coming. The Concordat, they're afraid, but not just of us. They're afraid of what the storm will reveal about them." Sarah nodded, understanding dawning. The coming conflict wouldn't just be about survival or power. It would be about two fundamentally different visions of what intelligent life could become. The Concordat sought to maintain order through control. Humanity and their new allies offered a different path: evolution, transformation, and the courage to become something entirely new. The stage was set for a confrontation that would determine not just humanity's fate, but the future of consciousness itself in their corner of the galaxy. And deep beneath the Pacific, the ancient pyramid continued its transmission, preparing humanity for the next phase of their transformation. The Concordat's advanced scouts arrived earlier than expected. They emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the solar system, a fleet of sleek, crystalline vessels designed to project overwhelming technological superiority. What they found instead was a transformed solar system that defied their understanding. Mercury had been converted into a vast quantum computing array. Venus hosted atmospheric cities populated by humans who had adapted to live in its toxic clouds. Mars glowed with the light of 1,000,000 terraforming engines. But Earth had become something the Concordat's sensors couldn't even properly analyze. Admiral Vexthor of the Concordat Scout Fleet transmitted the standard warning message, unchanged for 10,000 years. "Surrender your unauthorized evolutionary developments or face immediate rectification." The response came not in words but in action. A group of transformed humans simply appeared on the Scout Fleet's bridge, having walked through the quantum fabric of space itself. Jamie Chen, now 21 and fully coming into her powers, led the delegation. "We expected you sooner," she said, her voice echoing with harmonics that made the Concordat's crystalline technology resonate uncomfortably. "We should talk about what's really frightening you." The Concordat officers raised their weapons, but Jamie's team had already quantum locked them in place. not through violence or technology, but through a deeper understanding of reality's underlying nature. Your civilization has spent millennia enforcing stagnation. Jamie continued, walking calmly through the bridge. You've elevated control above growth, stability above evolution. But the quantum storm coming isn't just a natural disaster. It's the universe's way of preventing cosmic entropy. Life must evolve, or it dies. Admiral Vexthor, his crystalline form shimmering with agitation, managed to find his voice. You cannot comprehend the forces you're dealing with. The last quantum storm nearly destroyed all civilization. The archivists were fools who thought they could surf chaos itself. Jamie smiled, and in her eyes, Vexthor saw something that shook his certainty, a consciousness that had evolved beyond what his people had believed possible. The archivists weren't trying to surf chaos, she explained. They were preparing life to become its guides. Back on Earth, the transformation of humanity continued to accelerate. The quantum abilities that had first manifested in the young were now appearing in people of all ages, but it wasn't just about power, it was about understanding. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, now partially merged with quantum fields herself, made the breakthrough that explained everything. The quantum storm isn't random, she announced to the United Earth Council. It's a cosmic evolutionary event that occurs when reality itself needs to be reshaped. The archivists didn't just engineer us to survive it. They engineered us to help guide it. In orbit, the combined fleets of humanity and their transformed allies prepared for the Concordat's main force. The Nexus had taught humans how to grow living ships from crystallized thought. The Quantum Collective showed them how to merge consciousness with space-time itself. The Void Dancers revealed the art of fighting through multiple dimensions simultaneously. But the most significant development came from humanity's own innovation. Dr. Sarah Chen, working with her daughter's unique insights, discovered how to communicate with the quantum field itself. The universe, they learned, was not just a backdrop for existence. It was a conscious entity evolving through the life forms it gave birth to. The storm is coming because reality needs to become more complex, Sarah explained to a worldwide audience. The Concordat's philosophy of control and stagnation threatens the very process that keeps the universe alive. We're not just fighting for our right to evolve, we're fighting for the universe's right to grow. This understanding changed everything. Humanity and their allies weren't just preparing for war, they were preparing to become midwives to cosmic evolution itself. The transformed humans could now see the quantum storm approaching, not as a destructive force, but as a wave of creative potential that would reshape reality into something more complex, more beautiful, and more alive. In response to this revelation, the Concordat's main fleet accelerated its approach. Their sensors detected the changes happening in the solar system, and their ancient protocols demanded immediate intervention. But they were about to discover that the humans they hoped to suppress had become something far beyond their ability to control. Commander David Okonjo, leading Earth's first quantum fleet, watched the approaching Concordat armada through senses that spanned multiple dimensions. His ships were crewed by humans who could process information through quantum entanglement, pilots who could navigate the higher dimensions of space-time, and warriors who could manipulate the fundamental forces of reality. They still think this is about military power, he said to his crews. They don't understand that we're not fighting against them. We're fighting for them. The storm is coming whether they accept it or not. Our job isn't just to defend ourselves. It's to show them a better way. As the Concordat fleet drew closer, humanity and their allies made final preparations not for a traditional war, but for something unprecedented. A conflict that would determine whether life in the galaxy would embrace evolution or remain trapped in stagnation. Jamie Chen stood at the quantum observation post on Luna, watching reality's deeper layers shift and pulse with approaching change. The quantum storm's leading edge was already touching the outer solar system, its effects visible to her evolved senses. Soon, the Concordat would arrive in force, and the true test of humanity's transformation would begin. We're ready, she said, both to herself and to the quantum field that now felt as natural to her as breathing. The universe itself seemed to pulse in response, as if acknowledging that its children had finally grown into their true potential. The next phase of cosmic evolution was about to begin, and humanity would help lead the way. The Concordat's main fleet arrived like a metallic storm cloud, 10,000 ships strong, their crystalline hulls blazing with enough firepower to reduce planets to ash. But they found something unexpected waiting for them. Not just humanity's defenses, but a fundamental challenge to everything they believed. Grand Admiral Excelsior, Supreme Commander of the Concordat forces, watched the tactical displays with growing unease. The humans and their allies weren't arranged in any traditional combat formation. Instead, they seemed to exist in multiple places simultaneously, their ships phasing between dimensions in ways that defied the Concordat's most advanced sensors. "This is your final warning," Excelsior transmitted. "Submit to Concordat authority or face immediate extinction. Your evolutionary divergence threatens the stability of the entire galaxy." The response came in the form of a quantum transmission that bypassed their communication systems entirely, manifesting directly in the minds of every Concordat crew member. Jamie Chen's consciousness touched theirs, not with aggression but with an offer of understanding. "Let us show you what you're really afraid of." Her thoughts echoed through their minds. Before the Concordat forces could react, their ships were enveloped in a quantum field that showed them something they had been programmed for millennia to ignore: the living nature of space-time itself. Through evolved human senses, the Concordat crews saw reality as it truly was, not a dead void governed by unchanging laws, but a living, growing entity. The quantum storm approaching their galaxy wasn't a disaster to be prevented. It was reality's immune system activating to enable necessary growth. "Your civilization's greatest lie," Jamie continued, "was convincing itself that stability meant survival. But in a living universe, stagnation is death. Evolution isn't just an option, it's an imperative." On Earth, Dr. Sarah Chen monitored the quantum frequencies as humanity demonstrated their transformation. The Concordat had expected to find primitive beings barely capable of interstellar travel. Instead, they found humans who could step through space-time at will, reshape matter with a thought, and perceive the quantum foundations of reality itself. Commander Okonjo's quantum fleet executed maneuvers that seemed to defy physics itself, their ships moving through dimensions the Concordat couldn't even perceive. The void dancers slipped between moments of time, appearing and disappearing like ghosts. The quantum collective merged with the fabric of space itself, becoming living weapons of evolved consciousness. But it was humanity's unique contribution that truly shook the Concordat's worldview. Humans hadn't just developed quantum abilities, they had learned to communicate with the quantum field itself, to understand its needs and intentions. They had become living proof that consciousness could evolve beyond the Concordat's rigid definitions of life and intelligence. "Your weapons can destroy our bodies," Jamie transmitted to the Concordat fleet, "but you can't stop what we represent. The universe itself is choosing to evolve, and we have chosen to help guide that evolution rather than resist it." Deep within the Concordat command ship, something unexpected began to happen. Younger crew members, their crystalline forms vibrating with newfound awareness, started to question their civilization's ancient protocols. The human broadcast had awakened something in them, a long-suppressed capacity for change, for growth, for evolution. Excelsior watched in horror as portions of his fleet began powering down their weapons. The quantum storm's leading edge had reached them now, and in its light, the truth could no longer be denied. The Concordat's fear of change had led them to become exactly what they claimed to be fighting against: a force of entropy, trying to freeze the universe in an unchanging state that would ultimately lead to its death. "You don't have to fight us." Sarah Chen's voice joined her daughter's in the quantum broadcast. "The storm isn't coming to destroy. It's coming to transform. You can be part of that transformation. You can evolve with us." In orbit around Earth, the ancient pyramid structures activated simultaneously, releasing a pulse of quantum energy that rippled through space-time. The pulse carried with it the full knowledge of the archivists, not just their technology, but their understanding of cosmic evolution and the role of conscious beings in guiding it. The Concordat ships hung in space, their crews frozen in a moment of decision. They had come to prevent what they saw as a disaster, only to find themselves faced with a truth they had denied for millennia. The universe was alive, consciousness could evolve, and the only real choice was whether to embrace that evolution or be left behind by it. Jamie Chen, her consciousness now spanning multiple dimensions, reached out one final time to the Concordat fleet. "You can fire your weapons," she offered, "and we will defend ourselves. Or you can join us in becoming something new. The quantum storm isn't just changing us, it's offering you the same opportunity. The choice is yours." As if in response, the storm's quantum energies began to intensify, creating auroras that danced across the solar system. Reality itself seemed to hold its breath, waiting to see whether the Concordat would choose evolution or extinction. The next few moments would determine not just the fate of humanity, but the future of consciousness itself in their corner of the galaxy. The quantum storm enveloped the solar system in waves of iridescent energy, reality itself trembling on the edge of transformation. In this moment of cosmic significance, the Concordat fleet remained frozen in space, their ancient protocols warring with newfound awareness. Grand Admiral Excelsior felt the crystalline structure of his own body resonating with the quantum frequencies humanity had awakened. For the first time in his centuries-long life, he perceived the living consciousness of space-time itself. The rigid certainties that had guided the Concordat for millennia began to crack. "We have a choice," his second-in-command whispered, her crystalline form already beginning to change as she embraced the storm's transformative energy. Throughout the fleet, more and more Concordat crew members were awakening to the reality humanity had revealed. On Earth, Jamie Chen and her mother Sarah watched through evolved senses as the balance tipped. It began with a single Concordat ship powering down its weapons, then another and another. Like a crystalline constellation coming alive, ships across the fleet began to pulse with new awareness. "They're choosing to evolve," Jamie broadcast to Earth's unified command. "They're choosing life." But not all of the Concordat could accept this change. A fraction of the fleet, led by the most hardened traditionalists, charged their planet-killing weapons. They would rather destroy everything than allow the cosmic order they had maintained for so long to transform. What happened next would be remembered for millennia to come. As the dissenting ships prepared to fire, humanity and their allies demonstrated the full potential of evolved consciousness. Jamie Chen, leading a group of quantum-evolved humans, reached out with their combined awareness and touched the fabric of reality itself. Space-time responded to their call. The attacking ships found themselves gently but irresistibly shifted into a parallel dimension, not destroyed, but separated from their ability to harm others until they could come to terms with the change sweeping through the galaxy. Grand Admiral Excelsior, his own consciousness expanding beyond its crystalline constraints, made the decision that would reshape galactic civilization. The Concordat acknowledges, he transmitted on all frequencies, that we were wrong. Evolution is not our enemy. It is our destiny. The quantum storm reached its peak, and reality itself seemed to take a deep breath. In that moment, something unprecedented occurred. The evolved consciousness of humanity, their transformed allies, and the awakened Concordat members resonated together in harmony with the living universe. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, monitoring the transformation from her quantum laboratory, recorded what happened next. The storm didn't destroy or chaos, it created. Throughout the solar system, new forms of matter and energy came into being. Space-time itself became more complex, more alive, more conscious. Humanity's transformation completed itself in a cascade of quantum evolution. They became beings who could exist across multiple dimensions, their consciousness intertwined with the fabric of reality while maintaining their essential human nature. The archivist's gift had come to fruition. They had become true guardians of cosmic evolution. The Concordat ships that had chosen to evolve underwent their own metamorphosis, their crystalline structures transforming into living vessels of quantum consciousness. The rigid hierarchy that had governed them for so long dissolved, replaced by a new understanding of their role in the universe. Commander David Okonjo, watching from his quantum fleet, saw the beauty in what was unfolding. "We didn't just survive the storm," he transmitted to Earth. "We learned to dance with it." As the quantum storm began to spread to other sectors of the galaxy, humanity and their allies, now joined by the transformed Concordat members, prepared for their new role. They would guide other civilizations through the transformation, helping life throughout the galaxy embrace evolution rather than fear it. Sarah Chen stood with her daughter Jamie on the observation deck of humanity's new quantum hub, watching as ships of evolved beings prepared to depart for distant stars. The ancient pyramid structures, their purpose now fulfilled, had transformed into crystalline spires that pulsed in harmony with the living universe. The archivists knew, Sarah said softly, that surviving wasn't enough. They knew we needed to become something new, not just for ourselves, but for all life in the galaxy. Jamie nodded, her consciousness touching the quantum fields that now felt as natural as breath. And we're just beginning. There are more transformations to come, more civilizations to guide, more evolution to embrace. The remaining Concordat ships, now vessels of awakened consciousness rather than rigid control, joined Earth's quantum fleet. Together, they would seek out other civilizations approaching their own evolutionary crossroads, offering guidance rather than suppression, wisdom rather than fear. In the depths of space, reality itself had become more complex, more alive, more beautiful. Humanity had not just survived their trial by fire, they had helped reshape the very nature of existence. The age of rigid control was over. The age of conscious evolution had begun. And somewhere, in dimensions beyond normal perception, the archivists watched their plan come to fruition. Humanity had not just survived, they had become exactly what the universe needed them to be. Guardians of evolution, shepherds of consciousness, dancers in the quantum storm of creation itself. The story of humanity's transformation spread across the galaxy, not as a tale of conquest or survival, but as a promise of what was possible when fear was replaced with understanding, when control gave way to evolution, when life chose to grow rather than stagnate. And in the heart of the transformed solar system, Earth glowed with new life, a beacon of hope for all civilizations facing their own moment of choice between evolution and extinction. The human experiment had succeeded beyond even the archivists' dreams, proving that consciousness could indeed guide the universe's growth while maintaining its connection to the beauty of simple human truths. The quantum storm continued its sweep across the galaxy, and humanity, along with their old and new allies, sailed forth to help guide creation's next great leap forward. The real adventure was just beginning.